13b, here's another one where we have to solve a log equation. The idea for these problems is you need to get all the logs on one side of the equation, and then you're going to put them together, condense the logs into a single one. So for this one, we need to move this log over to the left-hand side. And so when we do that, we'll get log base 2 x squared minus 7x. This log comes over, and minus log base 2 of x plus 2. And then this still equals 3 on that side. So all we're doing is bringing over this log becomes negative when we move it across the equal sign. We want to combine these two logs together into a single log. The minus means that it's going to turn into division. Now you're not going to have two logs here. The two logs turn into one single log. So you have log base 2, and then you have x squared minus 7x on top, x plus 2 on the bottom. So it's written out this way. We don't have a log on top and a log on the bottom. When you combine these together with log rules, you only have one single log that you have left over, and it looks like this. So you want to get it down to this point where you have a single log there. So now we're going to change this from log form into exponential. You do that by taking the base, which is 2, you're going to raise it to the number after the equal sign, so 2 to the third. That's going to equal x squared minus 7x over x plus 2. So again, to change it from the log form exponential, you just take the base, raise to the number after the equal sign will equal whatever you have inside here. So we get 2 to the third power. Now this here, 2 to the third, that's not 6. It's 2 times 2 times 2, so you have 8. So be careful with this one. You have an 8 there. And I'll bring that up here. So you have 8 over 1 is going to equal x squared minus 7x over x plus 2. That's what this will turn into. Once you have this, you want to cross multiply and get it out of the fraction form. So we're going to multiply these two together, x squared minus 7x. That's going to equal, multiply these together, it's going to be 8 times x plus 2. So multiply these, and it equals these two multiplied together. You want to get this equal to a 0 because you have an x squared there. We get it to a 0, so then you can factor it. X squared minus 7x is going to equal 8x plus 16. And then when you bring everything all over and set it equal to 0, you're going to get x squared, it'll be minus 15x when you subtract the 8 over. And then subtract the 16, and you'll get this equals 0. And then you're going to factor this one. Factors of 16 that add up to 15, you can use 1 and 16. And you want the x there to be negative, so we're going to put a negative there next to the 16 and a positive by the 1. And then you're going to set that equal to 0 to get your two answers. Now once you get done doing all that, here are the two answers that you're going to get. So when you set this part equal to 0, you're going to get x is equal to negative 1 and also positive 16. With log problems, it's very, very important to put both your answers back into the original problem to make sure you don't get a negative inside the parentheses. If you get a negative anywhere in here when you put that in, then it's going to be no solution for that particular one, and you got to cross it out. So let's first put negative 1 inside the first one here. If I take negative 1, put it in here, I get negative 1 squared, which is 1, minus a negative 7 times negative 1. So what I get is negative 1 squared, and then minus 7 times negative 1. Now this part, when I plug that in, I get 1, but this is plus, so I get 1 plus 7, that's 8. That's okay. It's positive inside. If I put negative 1 into this one, I get positive 1. So this answer is okay, negative 1. As long as I don't get a negative number or a 0, then we're okay. Next, we're going to put the 16 in here. So 16 squared minus 7 times 16. 16 squared is definitely going to be bigger than 7 times 16, so that would be positive. So again, what we're doing is you're just putting in the 16 into each of these to see whether you get something positive or negative. You don't want to get a negative. If you get a negative, then you have to cross out the answer. In this case, that would be something positive. If you put 16 in here, that'll definitely be positive. So in this case, both our answers are going to work. But every time you do a log problem like this, you want to make sure you take your answers, put them back into the original equation, and make sure you don't get either a negative number or a 0 inside, because we know that's not defined because it doesn't match the domain for logs.